Hey guys, welcome to another video on my channel, and today's video is going to be the first video in 2021. And if you are new to my channel, hey, my name is Avanti and I have been creating content for a while now, since lockdown, and it's like a newly found hobby. So if you like my content, do share and subscribe, and do hit the like button. That will definitely make my day. So coming back to the video, today's video is going to be a review for Disguise Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. So this is the newly launched talc-free single eyeshadows, which you can combine in a 6-in-1 palette and choose the shades that you want to make this palette. It's kind of a customized palette. Primary reason I was drawn to this idea because I think this is like the first brand in India, like made in India brand, to offer customized eyeshadow palettes, and I thought that is quite a great thing because I always like the concept of being lot freedom system, and this is kind of similar to that. So I'll start with the shipping experience and the entire shopping experience of this eyeshadow palette. I had ordered this palettes from the Disguise Cosmetic website itself, and these palettes are available there in the name of Choose Any 6 eyeshadow palette. Kind of straightforward. So you click on the image, go to the shopping details and choose any of the 6 shades that you want to buy, and they'll send you the customized palette. That's it. The price of the palette when I bought it was 1200. It was on a discount, and I got it, like the palette and the 6 shades together came for 1200 rupees. Currently it's priced at 1500 rupees on the website. If you want, you can buy these eyeshadows like separately, like one at a time. I think each eyeshadows cost 300 rupees, and they are always available on certain amount of discount. Back when I was buying them, they were available at around 15 or 20% discount, and they came down to 200 rupees. So coming back to the palette itself, this is how the palette look. It has a outer carton. As you can see, it has an outer carton here. The cost of the empty eyeshadow palette, I think you can buy the empty palette as well, is rupees 300. Ingredients are mentioned in the back of the main palette. I think it's not mentioned on the carton. It's mentioned only on the back of the main palette. Obviously there's no mention of talc, but there is definitely mica in it and all the usual chemicals that comes inside eyeshadow. But apart from that, it supposedly has avocado oil, marula oil, almond oil, jojoba oil and kaolin. So yeah, some good and some bad things are there in the palettes. Quality of the palette packaging itself, it's a hard cardboard box palette, and it has a magnet flip cover, magnetic. I'm not very good at this, so yeah, it's like this magnet flip cover is there. Inside there is a mirror, which is like the best thing about this palette, because I'm not very fond of this cardboard or paper packaging things. And honestly, this mirror was one of the prime attraction of this palette, because 6 eyeshadows in a very compact size palette. As you can see, it's smaller than my hand, and here it's smaller than my hand itself, and it has a mirror, so it's kind of the most travel friendly packaging you can get. The magnet is quite strong, but I wouldn't risk it. I'll probably, even if I am carrying this around, I'll take it in the cardboard outer cover itself, so that it doesn't open inside the bag. Coming down to the eyeshadow shades that I got, there were around 15 to 20 choices, and most of them are gold browns, taupe and pink based, except for a blue, green and grey option and a orange option. I got the green, blue and orange. I left out the grey. So yeah, these are the shades, these are the shade families rather you can get from them. I won't say the shade range is very varied. Personally, I wouldn't find much use out of this shadow on a daily basis because it has only shimmer and satin shades to choose from, and that is one of the drawbacks that I witnessed, because if they had matte shades as a choice, you can create a more wholesome palette. Among the 6 shades, at least one could have been a transition matte shade or even a black, and I felt this is lacking from the choice, and it would have been nice if those were there too. Now, coming down to the pigmentation and quality of the eyeshadows, I have been using this palette for around 3 weeks now, and I noticed, the first thing that I noticed, that these eyeshadows have a bit of fallout, and secondly they are like not as pigmented as they appear in a hand swatch. Like when I first got this, I just couldn't resist swatching them on my hand then and there. Like I ripped off the outer packaging and started swatching it on my hand, and so the hand swatches came out really well and looked very promising. But when I tried it on my eyes, it seemed quite average. It just wouldn't go on nicely and vibrantly on the eyelid. So I used a eye primer and used a brush to apply, but even in that combination, like eye primer and brush applicator, still it didn't give the maximum vibrance that I could see on my hand swatches. So I tried applying it with my fingers and kind of had to press it a bit down. That's when I got a really well pigmented and vibrant look out of this. Now, being shimmer eyeshadows, shimmer and satins, like those kind of eyeshadows are expected to have more vibrance and more pigmentation to them, so that's why I'll rather call this average, because I have more vibrant and well pigmented palettes that are less costly than this one. Now coming down to the swatches, I'll start with the gold shade, and I'll be linking all the names as well as the color code in the description box, so if you're wondering which shades I got, you can find them easily in the description box. What I noticed from my hand swatches as well as while using on my eyes, the gold one has a little bit of fallout, like comparatively more fallout than the other shades, and it's a little more chalky than the other ones. It's not as smooth. The pink one is comparatively less chalky than the gold one. Like these all are quite smooth, but if I have to compare between them as well and determine if any of them are chalky, then I'll say the gold and the pink one has a bit of chalkiness to them. Next shade is actually one of my favorite of all that I have ordered from this site. It's the orange shade. This is the color, and this is the swatch. You can see how gorgeous the shade is. It's really vibrant orange, and it's like the perfect shade for someone with a yellow undertone skin, and it's really a good shade for the Indian skin tone, and personally I find this very flattering for my skin tone, which is why it has become one of my regular go-to shade whenever I need to create a look which has orange in it. So the fourth one is this green one. It's not exactly one of my favorites, but I had to choose something, so yeah, this green seemed like a good option. While choosing these eyeshadows, my aim was to create a palette which has shades which will complement each other as well as come to good use while creating looks with most of my Indian outfits. So I mostly have Indian outfits which complement this kind of shades, and so this seemed like good choices. it actually looks kind of like it's like a Prussian blue. It has no dimension to it. It's a flat Prussian blue. It's a satin finish shade and looks quite good on someone with cooler undertones. On me, if I am not using it like carefully working with it, it sometimes looks a little ashy. And lastly, there's the brown shade, which I kind of got hoping that it will work as a transition for any of the shades that I have here. But it's too shimmery to work as a transition shade, honestly. I wish they came up with a matte brown instead. So I don't have much place. So you can see this is the brown shade, and yeah, it's not like extraordinarily different or anything unique about it. You find such browns in almost every palette, but this is kind of like complementing color if you are trying to create a dual toned eye look using these eyeshadows. So the final verdict about this palette is you can actually go for this one, because for 1200 this seemed quite reasonable enough. For 1500, well, it's still reasonable enough, but I won't be paying 2100 for this, as it says in the back of the palette. Like, the calculation they have given here is 300 into 6 square eyeshadows plus 300 into 1 empty palette equal to rupees 2100. That is supposed to be the total price of this palette, like the maximum MRP, and that I find is too expensive for a palette like this, because if you are not getting enough pigmentation, not getting enough shade variety, there's no point of paying that much, because if you pay another 400 you get a Huda Beauty palette. So yeah, so if you like the video, do share and subscribe the channel, and I'll be coming up with more such videos. And do let me know in the comment section if there are any specific type of videos that you want to see, so I'll try to come up with them as well. So bye for today, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.